Hey besties. Welcome back to Renesmee, your Twilight escape zone. I've got a brand new fanfiction waiting for you today. What if Renesmee was adopted by Santa Claus on Christmas Eve? If you're ready for drama, emotions, and unexpected twists, grab your headphones and let's jump right in. Nessie's paw. My father had completely lost his mind. I had never been more sure of anything in my life. My father had gone completely 100% insane. I guess my mother must have as well for agreeing with my father. There was no way in hell that my brother and I belonged at a regular school. After 17 years of going to school with elf children, my father had thought it was a good idea for us to go to a regular high school full of regular human children. How was I supposed to fit in well socially with humans when I've never spent much time socializing with humans? My brother, Buddy, didn't seem to be suffering from the same paralyzing social fears as I currently was. Maybe, being Santa Claus's biological son, gave him an advantage in that area. I was the adopted orphan human girl that my father took in. He had discovered me on Christmas Eve almost 17 years ago. I had been abandoned and left to die in the woods just outside of Forks, Washington. My father was making his usual rounds when one of his reindeer, Comet, heard me faintly crying. My father took me in that night and nursed me back to health from near death. I was baptized at the North Pole a few days later, and because of that my blood became embedded with the same magical properties that my brother had inherited from his father. The Christmas magic enabled me to do all the same things that my father could. I was used to using my magic freely. However, now that my father had set me loose in the real world, I had to restrain myself. There was only so much magic we could use while we were here. My dad had these watches designed for us to tell us exactly how much magic we had left, and if it got down to zero we would never be able to return to the North Pole. I had already used some of my magic to create a fake driver's license and a car. I refused to let Charlie, my father's son from his first marriage, drive me to school every single day. I could not exactly fly on a reindeer to school the way I'd flown from the North Pole to Chicago. I had specifically chosen Comet to fly me because I knew how much he loved seeing Charlie. Someone tripped me as I was walking over to my locker. I was sent sprawling onto the floor. I heard several girls laugh. One of them kicked me as I tried to stand up. Freaky new girl. One of them said, "You mean ugly new girl. Look how awful she looks." I didn't know what to do or say. I wasn't used to being treated like this. Maybe I really was freaky. After all, I'm a human barely going to a human school for the first time. One of them, a beautiful blonde girl, bent down to be eye level with me. "Look, stupid girl, you're new here, so I'll let it slide this one time. I own this school, and if you ever cross my path again you will regret. This will seem like mere play. Is that understood?" I didn't say anything. She grabbed me and pulled me in close. I said, "Is that understood?" She snarled in my face. "Yes." Note to self: avoid this girl at all costs. Good. She released me rather roughly and I almost fell backwards. I watched the girls walk away. I didn't quite understand what just took place. The blonde girl, the obvious ringleader of the group, how could she be so cruel to someone she's never met before? "You okay?" I spun around to see another girl behind me. She was a petite brunette girl. She seemed nice. Unlike those other girls. "I'm okay." Who were they anyway? Just Naomi and her clique. They're real bitches. It's just better to stay out of their way. "I'm Chelsea, by the way." "Nice to meet you, I'm Nessie." "Hi Nessie. So what class do you have first?" I whispered as I pulled out my schedule. "Biology with Mr. Chavez." "Oh, you're in my class then. I can show you the way if you'd like." I followed Chelsea to class. I felt relieved to have made at least one friend so far. I took a seat at the far back of the class with Chelsea. "Looks like you got a secret admirer," she whispered in my ear. "What? Jacob Black hasn't stopped staring at you since the moment you walked in." That's when I noticed him, and I could swear my heart actually stopped beating. Extremely tall, muscular, And if I had to guess, I'd say Native American. He stared in shock and disbelief. He was handsome though. I shook my head. Who the hell am I kidding? I'm Santa's daughter, for crying out loud. I couldn't have a normal relationship with a normal boy. Too much risk involved. Like accidentally spilling the beans about the secret of Santa, or SOS as we called it. Then I spot Ted Naomi glaring daggers at Jacob and I. Jacob didn't seem to notice, but I did, and the looks she kept throwing my way scared the crap out of me. Great. Less than 2 hours here and I already have an enemy. Joy. I caught Jacob looking at me several times during class. I tried to ignore it, but it was impossible. As soon as class was over, I stood up as fast as possible and walked out. A warm hand grabbed my shoulder. I spun around instantly and found myself face to face with Jacob. Renes, I mean Nes, is it really you? I mean, what's your name? He asked, both curiously and nervously at the same time. He was one strange boy, all right. What's with all the half-baked questions? Nessie. Well, Renesmee technically, but most call me Nessie. You must be Jacob. It's Jacob. Naomi walked by and I could tell she was pissed. Beyond pissed, actually. I was actually scared. What could I have done to made this stranger into an enemy so fast? Nessie's paw. Hey Nessie, can I ask you a question? You kinda just did, Jacob. I grinned. Ha ha, very funny. You know what I mean. Okay, sure, go ahead. Do you want to go out with me? I was so shocked that I stopped paying attention to where I was walking and I tripped over something. Jacob caught me just in time before I could hit the floor. I heard laughter coming from close by. I looked and saw Naomi and her gang laughing mercilessly at me. Jacob glared at them, but that didn't stop them. Nessie, are you okay? Obviously not, Naomi said through fits of laughter. The dumbass can't even walk in a straight line without tripping. You really want to go out with someone like that? Jacob was shaking in anger. That probably should have worried me, but I thought it was kind of sexy. You really have some nerve, do you? Making fun of other people like they're somehow lesser than you are. By the way, you're failing every single class, but somehow she's the dumb one, right? That's hilarious. Everyone laughed while Naomi froze in embarrassment. My newfound friend Chelsea was laughing the hardest. I was probably the only one there that didn't laugh. Naomi ran away in embarrassment. Come on Nessie, before we're late to class, he said as he picked up my stuff for me. Jacob smiled like he had just won the lottery or something. Yes, because I happen to be in the same class that you have next as well, but this time I'm hoping that you will sit next to me. By the way, you never answered my question. Will you go out with me? Come on Nessie, just say yes please. Jacob begged. Just one date. That's all. Just one date. No, I couldn't get involved with a guy that I'll be leaving in just a few short months when I return to the North Pole. I couldn't do that to him. I couldn't play with him like that. Nessie, sure, I'll go out with you. I didn't realize what I'd said until it was too late. Jacob looked like the happiest kid alive. Oh well, one date, right? One date couldn't be that bad. I was so lost in thought that I didn't realize that I'd stopped walking until Jacob was far ahead of me. Well Jacob, Jacob asked you out? Chelsea questioned as she suddenly appeared by my side. I guess so. Wow, you lucky girl. You know how many here have tried to get his attention, and here you just waltz in and suddenly he's worshipping the ground you walk on. Worshipping? I think that's a bit dramatic, isn't it? Oh come on, didn't you see the way he was looking at you? Like if you were high personal goddess or something. Wow, I said. So he doesn't date? Not any of us mortals, she laughed. We've all tried to get his attention. Naomi is the only girl here who doesn't have enough sense to realize that he's not interested in her. Or maybe she does but just doesn't care, I said. Well, if that's the case, then most of us have enough dignity to know when to stop, but she obviously doesn't. Nessie, there you are. I thought I lost you. Jacob shouted. No, just got started talking with my friend Chelsea. No matter, let's just get to class before we're late. We ended up being 2 minutes late to class. Everyone's attention was automatically on me. 2 people in particular caught my attention. They had gold eyes and pale skin. They were both extremely beautiful. Inhumanly beautiful. The girl gasped when we made eye contact. Her eyes glistened like she was about to cry. "Come on, Nessie, there's some open seats in the back," Jacob whispered to me. The girl kept looking at me like she was about to cry. The boy she was with kept looking at me curiously. Sometimes his expression looked frustrated, though I didn't know why. I shook my head, trying to figure out the strange couple was just going to give me a headache. Much like the headache I seemed to be giving the bronze-haired boy. Instead I focused more on Jacob. Maybe it was just my lack of experience with men's showing, but there was something about him that drew me in. As soon as class was over I was out of my seat rushing toward the door. An ice-cold hand stopped me. I nearly screamed. I spun around and saw the inhumanly beautiful girl right behind me. She looked close to tears just as she had the whole class. Do you need something?" "Sorry," she quickly said. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking." "It's okay. I'm Renesmee Calvin." "Calvin? Are you related to Charlie Calvin then?" "Yes, he's kind of my adopted half-brother. I have another brother, Buddy Calvin." "Who are you anyways?" I asked her. "Oh, I'm Isabella Cullen, but you may call me Mo'er Bella," she smiled. "Well, nice to meet you, Bella." I smiled and shook her hand. "Anyway, I guess I should be going to my next class." "What's your next class?" I looked at my schedule. Spanish IV. Why did I pick a Spanish class when I was already fluent in the language? Bella took the schedule from me. "Oh, Edward has that class next. He can show you the way." "Who is Edward?" I asked. "That would be me," I heard a male voice say. "I'm her brother." "Oh, well, nice to meet you too." I was introduced to the rest of the Cullen family throughout the day. I wasn't clear what Jacob's relationship to the was, but I wasn't sure if it was even appropriate for me to ask or not. At lunch I noticed Chelsea sitting alone and I went to sit with her. "What are you doing here?" she asked, as if the idea of me sitting with her was so shocking. "Sitting down and eating. What's it look like I'm doing?" "You've befriended the Cullens and have Jacob's undivided attention, but you choose to sit with me instead. Is there anything wrong with sitting here with you? Maybe I think you're a nice person as well. You should tell that to everyone else here. They usually stay away from me like I'm diseased or something." "Well, then they don't know what a possibly great friend they're missing out on then," I remarked. "I'm just saying you come in here on your first day and not only manage to get Jacob's attention but the rest of the Cullen family's attention as well. They usually just keep to themselves. Honestly, with your luck today you could go submit an application where I work and land a job on the spot." "Oh, you have a job? Where do you work?" "Macy's. I'm a sales associate. Thankfully no one, namely Naomi and her gang, don't go to that mall." Clarissa had unintentionally given me a really good idea. Dad said he wanted me to live the way a normal kid my age lives these few months that I was here. I should experience what it's like to have an actual job. "Nessie, what are you thinking about?" "That getting a job sounds exciting." "Is your job hiring?" "Yes, Macy's just started hiring seasonal associates. Lord knows we can use the extra help this time of the year, and if you do a job they might even keep you on after the holiday season is over." "What's it like working there?" I asked. "All my coworkers are awesome. Learning how to work the register may seem daunting at first, but it gets extremely easy really quickly. The most pain in the ass part of the job is getting people to open up Macy's credit cards that they either have already or don't want. Not that management really cares. They just want to make the quota that's been laid out for the store." "There's quotas." "Yes, there's always quotas. That's why we sales associates are so pushy sometimes," she laughed. "You also get the occasional grumpy or rude customer, but really that's it. You get used to it pretty fast. I haven't scared you away from getting a job, have I? Because honestly I think it would be nice to work with you." No, you haven't." There was no doubt in my mind right now. I was going to get a job for the duration of my stay here. I was going to have as many normal experiences as I could while I was here before I returned to the North Pole. "Nessie's pa, As soon as I got home that day I applied to be a seasonal sales associate at the Macy's that Chelsea worked at. It was a little difficult at first, because I didn't have a social security number, but I used a tiny amount of my reserved Christmas magic to create one. The little hand on the watch indicating how much magic I had left moved only slightly. I sighed. I didn't understand why our magic was so limited outside of the North Pole. Years ago my dad had come to Chicago to peruse a wife. It was an old but most important detail in the history of Christmas. The rule stated that in the event that a single man fell subject to the Santa Claus, like my dad, he had 7 years to find a wife. Well, that rule had been forgotten about until about a month before the 7-year deadline. My dad came down to Chicago to find a wife. His then head elf Bernard gave him this watch measuring the amount of magic he had outside of the North Pole. He admitted to using some magic to help win my mom over. What he didn't count on was falling in love with my mom as well. They married just in time. A few years later Buddy was born and I was discovered in that forest. It was strange being outside of the North Pole for any considerable length of time. Sure, I'd gone with my father to visit Charlie many times, but those trips never lasted more than a week. Now here I was in a regular high school and trying to get a regular job. I started and finished my homework in less than an hour. It wasn't much. Charlie ordered a pizza for dinner. A pizza which Buddy ate half of, leaving Charlie and I to fight for the rest. After dinner I decided to go out for a walk and explore the neighborhood. I wandered down the street further than I realized and found an orphanage. I was about to turn around when I saw the most peculiar thing. Naomi, my quickly made enemy, walk in. She left the place about half an hour later. Out of curiosity I walked in. What was I about an orphanage that could attract a person like her? There were young kids everywhere when I walked in. What immediately caught my attention was a small baby boy looking at me. As soon as I got close enough he started reaching out toward me and crying. I grabbed the small baby and rocked him gently. "Excuse me ma'am, but who are you and what are you doing with that baby?" I jumped and immediately put the boy down. "Oh, nothing. I was just trespassing. You don't work here or live here, so you obviously don't belong here." "What are you doing here?" "Nothing, I just saw someone I know come in here and I thought, kid, unless you're adopting one of these little monsters, which you're obviously not, get out of here." It's bad enough that kid's biological mom keeps visiting him even though she gave up all her rights to him. Last thing we need is stranger like you hanging around. I ran out of that building as fast as I could. I crashed into someone without realizing I was even heading straight for someone. "Oh my God, you pathetic loser, how dare you run into me and make me fall." Oh God, of all the people I had to literally run into, it was Naomi. I thought she was long gone. What was she doing here? "Sorry. Sorry is not going to cut it, you stupid freak. I've got a huge gash on my arm now because of you. Just get the hell away from me, you walking hazard." She got up, while pushing me out of the way, and ran away as fast as she could. I got up and dusted myself off. The stinging sensation on my arm told me that I'd been wounded as well. "What happened to you arm?" was the first thing Charlie asked me when I walked in the door 15 minutes later. "I fell," was my simple answer. "Ah, my sister. The total klutz." I glared at Buddy in a way that told him if he said one more word there'd be hell to pay. He seemed to get the message. I cleaned and bandaged my arm in the bathroom. I surely didn't leave my klutziness back home. My rotten luck though that Naomi would still be hanging around that orphanage. What was up with that caretaker lady at the orphanage? Calling a baby a little monster, when your job is literally to take care of them and find them homes. She's seriously lacking in Christmas spirit or something. I went to bed late that evening and nearly slept in the next morning. I got an email inviting me to schedule an interview with Macy's and I chose the following day. I got hired on the spot. Everything seemed to be going well. I couldn't, however, get the orphanage and that baby boy out of my head. I couldn't stop wondering what Naomi was doing there that night. Nessie's paw. The next couple of days were a blur. I started working at my new job and things certainly were hectic. I wasn't used to being around so many humans at once, but I was sure that I'd get used to it eventually. I was lucky in the sense that I had Chelsea there to show me the ropes, and boy did I have a lot of questions for her. I noticed that a lot of the people out shopping for gifts were stressed out. People worried about all the people they still had to buy gifts for. People upset because we couldn't find the size they needed. People getting upset because they had to stand in long lines. Then, I would overhear kids telling their parents about all the latest toys and gadgets they wanted for Christmas. Part of me always got kind of depressed when I heard these things. Christmas wasn't about receiving presents. It was about love and kindness. It was about giving to those less fortunate. It was about spreading joy and happiness. Being unselfish. Christmas wasn't supposed to be a materialistic holiday, but it seems that's what it's become. I wished that there was a way I could remind people, adults and kids, what Christmas was really all about. One other thing that I couldn't get off my mind was that baby boy at the orphanage. From the first time I saw him a few days ago, it was as if he had stolen a tiny piece of my heart. I couldn't stop thinking about him. I had to go see him again. With my mind made up, I finished up my shift and left as fast as I could to the orphanage. When I got there, I heard what sounded like a lot of commotion inside. Screaming and crying. I recognized the woman that kicked me out the other day. She was screaming at some of the other staff for some reason. Some of the kids were crying. The baby boy was especially hysterical. I snuck in there without an Yon realizing it, and I gently and carefully grabbed the small baby. I comforted the boy as best as I could. "He's hungry," I heard a small voice say behind me. I turned around and saw a young girl about 3 years old standing there. "How do you know?" I asked the young girl. "When Ms. Nelson is mad like that, she forgets to feed us. He hasn't eaten all day." What in the hell type of person forgets to feed kids because they're mad? I did some breathing exercises hoping that would help me calm down. It didn't do much. "What's your name?" I asked the young girl. "Jocelyn." "Jocelyn, does he have a name?" "I don't know," she said. "Ms. Nelson calls him stupid, annoying, and a burden. But then she calls all of us burdens. Hey Jocelyn, do you think you can show me where the kitchen is?" She smiled widely. "Yes, it's over here. Are you going to make me lunch?" she asked, sounding extremely hopeful. "Yes, I'll make you lunch. How a place like this could get away with not feeding kids is beyond me." There wasn't anyone in the kitchen, thankfully. Not that I was going to allow anyone to stop me. I found some ingredients and quickly made a sandwich for Jocelyn. While she was eating, I warmed up baby formula for the baby. The baby. I couldn't keep calling him that. I had to come up with a name for him. I watched as he ducked greedily from the bottle. The name Noah jumped into my head. He looked like a Noah to me. "Excuse me, what are you doing here? Who are you?" I jumped when an unfamiliar, but not unkind, voice spoke to me. It was a woman in her early to mid-20s. "I'm Renesmee and I'm feeding those kids. Doing your job essentially." She sighed. "She did it again, didn't she?" "Did what?" I asked. "Got so upset that she simply forgot about feeding these kids." "How does something like that happen?" "I don't know, but I could use your help now. Making enough food for all of them and fast isn't going to be easy." "You're one of the new volunteers, right?" No, but I would like to be one if it meant helping these kids." "Sure, just fill out an application and have a parent or guardian sign it. I can give you one later, but first I need your help." "Thanks. What's your name?" "Grace." "My name is Grace." "Did you say your name is Renesmee?" "Yeah, but most people call me Nessie." "Welcome aboard, Nessie. Hopefully you'll be the change this place so desperately needs." "What do you mean by that?" "It's hard getting people to adopt these kids. People usually want the newborns and babies only. Nobody has wanted the one you're holding though, because he's colicky. He seems oddly calm with you though." "Why not the other kids though?" "Many of the older kids come with their own baggage that no one wants to deal with, sadly. Most of them were abandoned or orphaned," Grace explained. "What about Jocelyn?" I couldn't help but wonder why N01 wanted the sweet innocent little girl. She lost her parents in a car accident a year ago. None of her living relatives wanted to deal with her because she has leukemia. Doctors say it's terminal. She whispered that last part. The words just shattered me on the inside. Anyway, Grace continued, could you help me make some sandwiches? That's probably the fastest thing we can make. Yeah, sure, I said. Everything Grace told me circulated in my head. How anyone could abandon their own family member, much less a little girl who lost her parents, just because she's sick is beyond me. From that moment on, though I was committed to the orphanage, I didn't know how I was going to balance school, a part-time job, and volunteering, but I was going to do it. Somehow I would. At one point I got a phone call from Jacob asking me if I wanted to go out to dinner with him that night. I said yes right away. The idea of seeing Jake outside of school delighted me more than I would ever admit aloud. So it was with a smile on my face that I began walking home. I stopped when I heard a woman screaming. I didn't think, I just ran to see who it was and what was happening. I skidded to a halt when I saw Naomi, my #1 enemy and bully, being attacked by a bunch of men. I couldn't just stand by and watch as they forcibly removed her pants. I had to do something. I had to save her. Nessie's paw. I don't know what came over me and possessed me to do it. All I knew was that I could not allow those men to hurt Naomi. She screamed as one of the men removed her pants. One of the other guys grabbed her and covered her mouth so she wouldn't scream. None of them even noticed me until I punched the guy that had removed her pants and was currently trying to remove her underwear. Then I punched the guy that was holding her. He dropped her in shock. It only took them a few seconds to recover before one of the men grabbed me and held onto me so tight that I had no hope of escape. Wow, another pretty one. We could have fun with these two. A man with a southern accent spoke. At the first chance I got, I bit the man that was holding me and elbowed him in the chest as hard as I could. Naomi was on the ground, and one of the men was on top of her, 100% completely ready to rape her. I'd never seen her so scared before. I hit the man as hard as I could. Oh, I see you want a piece of me first, don't you? No worries. I can be accommodating. My men will have fun with this one first and I'll have fun with you, he said as he grabbed my shirt and pulled me closer to him. My heart skipped several beats. Let them go, I heard a voice shriek. I turned around, completely shocked to see Rosalie Hale standing there looking like angry bull close to attacking. Jesus, the pretty ones are coming to us now. I like that, one guy whispered. Rosalie's attention snapped to him. Though how she'd heard him speak was beyond me. She looked even more pissed off now. Men like you that think they can do whatever they want to women and treat women however they want to disgust me. The man holding me suddenly grabbed my left breast, causing me to gasp and tense up in fear. He laughed. See, she likes it. If I though, that Rosalie was angry before I was dead wrong. She was beyond pissed now. The look on her face scared the men so much that they dropped Naomi and I. As soon as she pulled up her pants, we were off running as fast as we could. We didn't stop until we found somewhere to hide. Naomi coughed a little while I tried to catch my breath. Exercise wasn't something that I did much at the North Pole. Nessie, you're crazy, you know that. Naomi coughed. Crazy for what? Why would you do that? Do what? Don't be stupid, you know what I'm talking about. I sighed. Yeah, why did I do that? After all, you've been treating me like crap for no reason at all since we met. Why would I do something like that for you? You know why. It's because no one deserves to be raped, that's why. It doesn't matter how or why you treat me and other people the way you do. You don't deserve that, and I couldn't stand by and do nothing. Like you said though, I've treated you like shit from the moment that we've met, and yet you risked yourself to help me. You didn't have to do that and you still did. Why? Because I'm a decent person, and like I said, I couldn't stand by and do nothing to stop it from happening. Thank you, Nessie. Seriously, I mean it. Thank you. If it hadn't been for you, I probably would have been raped again. Actually, there is no probably about it. Did you say Aga? Look, it doesn't matter what happened before. Okay. I'm sorry for everything and I'm sorry for how I've treated you. It's nice to know that there's still good people like you out there in the world. I had only been barely paying attention to what she'd been saying after she said, raped again. That would imply that she's been attacked before. She's been hurt before and maybe, just maybe, that had something to do with why she treated people the way she did. There was more to her than this mean-spirited girl that she presented herself as. I was now determined to peel back the layers and see who she really was on the inside. She suddenly gasped in pain. "What's wrong?" I asked her. "I'm pretty sure I broke my arm earlier when I tried to fight them off. One of the guys twisted my arm so hard that I heard something snap and I was in a lot of pain. There was definitely a lot of bruising on her arm. I wasn't a doctor but I was sure that her assessment was right. She'd broken her arm. I made a crazy split-second decision right then and there. I tapped into my reserves of Christmas magic and used a little to heal her arm. She looked at in shock as the pain suddenly disappeared and the bruising healed. I looked at the watch that measured the amount of magic I had left and watched as it dropped a little. Before she could say anything we heard Rosalie screaming our names. "Rosalie!" I called out. "Nessie! Oh thank God, are you okay? Naomi, are you okay too? Did they hurt you too? What did they do?" "It's okay. We're fine, I think. Anyway, we should probably call the police on them and..." "Oh don't worry about that Nessie, those men have been taken care of and I can personally assure you they will never be able to harm another woman like that ever again." The way she said it with a devilish smile kind of scared me a little. "Anyway," she continued, "I just want to make sure that you both are okay. Do you two need anything? Do you want to come over to my house for a little while? I'm sure you're both shaken up and you can stay with us until you're calmer." Nessie, I'm sure Jacob would understand that. Wait, how'd she know that Jacob and I were going out? Oh that's right, their family. What she was offering sounded wonderful right now and we both quickly agreed to it. I was still quite a bit shaken up and I could tell Naomi was as well. "We need some tranquility right now. Bella's pav." I could still remember the first time I held my daughter as clearly as if it happened yesterday. It was a memory that filled me with love, happiness, and pain. My baby girl, my little nudger, she was a miracle, a true and pure miracle. Edward and I never could have imagined, not even in our wildest dreams, that we could conceive a baby together since he was a vampire and I was a human. I was monitored by Carlisle throughout my whole pregnancy and never detected anything unusual. So after carrying her for 9 months I gave birth to Renesmee Carly Cullen. There were some serious complications during the birth that nearly killed both my daughter and I. Thankfully Carlisle was able to save his granddaughter just in time and Edward was able to change me into a vampire. 3 days later I awoke into my new life filled with happiness and excitement. I was eager to see my baby but Edward had insisted that I go hunting first to make sure that my thirst was under control. When we got back Rosalie brought my daughter to me. There she was, my daughter fast asleep in Rosalie's arms. She carefully passed Nessie over to me. The action caused Nessie to wake up and start crying. I was worried that I had done something wrong when Edward told me to rock her slowly and carefully. I remember thinking she was so small, so vulnerable. The idea that this small vulnerable person depended on me for everything scared me. What if I messed something up? What if I wasn't the mother Nessie deserved? I had also never felt so happy either. The following months were pure bliss. I had Edward and I had Nessie. I had my family. I couldn't ask for anything else. Christmas was fast approaching and we wanted to make it as special as possible since it would be our first as a married couple and our first as parents. Nessie never ceased to be amazed by all the Christmas decorations and lights around the house. She'd often reach out and grab an ornament off the tree if we were standing close enough. She'd start crying when we tried to get it away from her. Jacob was almost always around and whenever she'd start crying he'd automatically run over and ask what was wrong. Jacob imprinted on Nessie not long after she was born. He was a bit overly worried when it came to her happiness and safety. It was annoying but I put up with it. After I nearly killed him when I found out about the imprinting, I begun to accept it. Then came that fateful Christmas Eve. As supposed to be our most special and memorable day ever. It quickly turned into a nightmare and became memorable for all the wrong reasons. I walked into Nessie's room to get her ready for the evening only to find that her crib was empty. I screamed and immediately both Edward and Jacob came to see what was wrong. When I told them, both of them nearly destroyed the house looking for her. Jacob PHASED and frantically searched for her everywhere. We'd searched in town and all the surrounding area, but she was gone. We searched the forest, but she was nowhere to be found either. I had never felt so scared before. My daughter was missing and I had no idea why. My daughter could be in danger and we couldn't do anything to save her. Our search continued throughout the following days, weeks, months, and years. We never found her. I gave up hope on finding her. I didn't think it was possible for her to still be alive after all these years. That's why I hated Christmas and everything to do with it. We never celebrated the holiday because it brought up way too many sad memories. Christmas was not something to be celebrated when it was the anniversary of something so horrible and tragic. Christmas music, movies, TV specials, books, and everything associated with Christmas. I took a deep breath as I thought of my daughter now. After all these years, after losing all hope, we'd finally found her again. Or rather, she found us. I was a bit concerned as she was related to Charlie Calvin. According to Edward, he truly believes that his father, Scott Calvin, is Santa Claus. His delusions were so strong that he believed in them wholeheartedly. Nessie inherited my mental shield, so he had no way of knowing if Nessie knew the truth about her half-step brother or not. Clearly Charlie was a new case and I was worried about Nessie living with a man that had such strong delusions. I wasn't the only one who was worried about that either. Jacob and the rest of the family was as well. Suddenly I heard a familiar voice getting closer to the house. My breath got caught in my throat as I recognized it as my daughter's. Only what was she doing with Rosalie and that other girl that teased her?